But you need your hair.
Good morning. Will you please join me in lighting the chalice to begin our service? The words are in your order of service. We light and speak in the hope, sign our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
And as the candle is lit and as the fire begins to burn, may we use this time to calm our hearts, calm our spirits, that we might reach deep inside ourselves and discover those things that are necessary for us today. Thank you very much. morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the pastoral minister here. Those of you who are regular members, you know why you get.
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Welcome. Where do you live here? Where do you live here?
I live down,
Me too.
seriously.
You check my
I
wallet.
live down Simmonsville Road across from Kroger.
Yes, yes.
So you're in Bluffton? Yeah, you're in Bluffton. I'm in Bluffton. I'm actually in Bluffton, okay, but I don't live in Richmond.
And I love your bohemian outfit, I'm just saying.
Welcome.
As a license aside.
My parents, my father refused religion. He was born a Southern Baptist in
We have a lot of those around.
1914 in southern Oklahoma. But I grew up among Unitarians.
Thank you. And thank you for trusting us with this hour of your life. I appreciate that. Any other new folks visiting in the center section? I see fingers being pointed. All right, on the my far left, your far right, you first or second time?
Praise for the sweetness of the white garment, shining from cleanness, where was he past? Light is the sunlight, light is the morning, born of the one light, even so plain. Praise the nation, praise every morning, God's creation of the new
Thank you. You may be seated.
One thing we do every week is share from our abundance. And we thank you if you have brought food for the food pantry on Hilton Head and the food pantry in Bluffton. And I see on the back table that there are some contributions. And these will be taken to the food pantries, two food pantries. And another thing we do is to sustain our community here. And so we'll pass the basket. Jennifer, you can let the basket pass as your presence is our gift today. to all for his generosity.
Don't be disappointed, I got nothing today. Now is the time when we share our joys and concerns. In sharing our joys, we get the benefit of the support of all of our peers, and in sharing our concerns, we also get that benefit. So if you have a joy and concern, please come up, take a stone from the basket, share your joy or concern, place the stone in the cairn, and of course, this is not a time for political statements or announcements.
Good morning. I wanted to share with you a joy. David Kelly had an operation on Friday. I know it shouldn't sound like a joy, but it was a knee operation. It was scheduled for Tuesday, and then somehow the schedule got messed up. They moved it to Friday, and I think he was the first dude in for the knee surgery. And I talked to him about noon. And he'd already been strolling around the surgical center.
That's great.
So he's doing well. So, but you might want to send him a card. And George, I can see you've got a question. No. Anyway, thanks.
I have a joy that I want to share with everybody. As most of you know, Tom Duff, who was a long, loving, and lovable member of this congregation, who took us through the journey with Dante and also cairns, that we understand that now. He and his wife recently moved to San Miguel in Mexico, and prior to his departure, we asked Tom if he might consider writing to us periodically, keeping us updated on what's happening with his new life. And I was thrilled that this last week I received his first letter to us from San Miguel, and I'd like to share that with all of you. This is the first epistle to the Bluftonians. I, Apostate Thomas, along with Holy Megan, send greetings to all the saints in the Church of Blufftonia. I am heartened by the news that you have remained faithful to the 7 principles and that membership continues to swell. Your leaders exemplify the highest levels of dedication, stimulated, I have heard, by the unrelenting loyalty of the congregation. There are those who predicted you would outgrow your present building and need to erect a granite cathedral. That landmark day seems ever nearer. Alas, the city where we are now located, named after St. Michael, is somewhat behind the times. The streets still paved with cobblestones, which tend to twist the ankles, and cart drivers disinclined to give way to anyone. The UU congregation, however, has proved to be quite generous, its members promising to provide us with food and, yes, occasionally a cup of local wine. Certain food tend to be on the spicy side, but the lingering tang only strengthens our spiritual drive. Holy Megan has already found others who enjoy hitting a ball with some type of stringed instrument, and we've heard of strange groups who splash primitive pigments on sheets of canvas. Only heaven knows how long we will remain, how long until we are called elsewhere, but we will always remember the unequaled warmth with which you took us in. Our love is with all of you. And our love is with him, and if he sees this, please write to us again soon, because I'm going to put the stone now in the cairn.
I have a concern to share, which is that our beloved Kai is actually pretty sick. So if you have a thought or a prayer that you'd like to share, we would be very, very grateful. Thank you.
Sorry.
I will take 2 stones from the basket for those joys and concerns that remain in your hearts, and 1 stone for the children of families affected by gun violence. And now, if you will turn to aphorism 578. I think that's the right one. 578. Nobody said bingo. Let's read together. We can never make the world safe by fighting. Every nation must learn that people of all nations are children of God and must share the wealth of the world. You may say this is impractical, far away, can never be accomplished, but this is the work we are appointed to do. Sometime, somehow, somewhere, we must never teach this great lesson.
Good morning again, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning. I usually start sermons with a joke, always written by myself. But today I'm going to start with something incredible and rare and maybe a one-time happening for my congregation. Milton Himes was a 22-year-old man from my congregation who died in World War II in a plane crash near Belgium as a member of the Mighty Eighth. If you don't know who the Mighty Eighth is, it's the Air Force for World War II, founded in Savannah before they knew it was going to be the greatest Air Force in history. Just happened to be in Savannah. And he died in 1944. Last year, quite by accident, a diving crew found a plane in the waters outside of Belgium. And after DNA testing, they found that Milton Himes was one of the people in the plane. And so on this upcoming Friday, almost exactly a week off, 80 years after he died, we will bury Milton Himes in our cemetery. Obviously, he died very young, didn't have children, but he will have a couple of nephews and nieces there. An old girlfriend who's 99. Hopefully, we'll be able to show up. She actually lives on my streets. This is an incredible moment for our community because we think about World War II and the impact it's had on the world. We know we had a lot of young men and women who served from this country. We know about the war. We know the history. We know we won. But we sometimes forget that the men and women who enlisted or were drafted or went to fight, whether by force of need or by volunteering, had no idea they were going to win this war. They probably had some inclination as to the repercussions if they didn't win. But they went into this war knowing that there was a chance they would lose their lives, but also that their families, whether in America or Europe or wherever, could face great consequences if they lost. They did their duty to God and country. They followed the call to duty, and it's really quite remarkable what they did. I put, when I was asked, a passage to base this sermon on from the book of 2 Kings, which tells us about a priest who helped the last great king of Israel. His name was Joash. And what he did is he made sure that the military, the Levites, guarded the temple and went out and made sure people were behaving as they should and were listening to God and being good human beings. So they did both the protecting and the going out and helping people be better people. They accepted the call of duty, which of course is a famous saying. It's also a famous video game. I don't know if you've ever played Call of Duty. I am the world's worst video game player. I have 2 children, 5 and 7, and ever since they were very little, 3, 4, 5, whenever we play video games, this is pretty much how it would be. They'd have a controller, I'd have a controller. About a minute into the game, they give me that frustrating look. They take my controller, catch me up, and then we play again for 3 minutes. And this is a 3 or 4-year-old, and then they catch me up, very patiently, I would add, much more patiently than I am. And then we got to games like Mario Brothers, as my daughter turned 7, and we're playing Mario Brothers, whereas she used to catch me up. Now, of course, she either lets me die or actually kills me over and over, each time telling me she's not going to do it this time. I actually played Call of Duty with my older nephews a while back, and I was so bad at the game. Jewish Veterans Organization. And I'm very proud of our military for so many reasons. First of all, they were very smart enough to turn me down when I applied to be in the military. I didn't look at the manual, but apparently they have something called standards. Standards. And I think we all feel a lot safer knowing that the Army, Air Force, many people from the Jewish world have served in the military. In fact, the first group of Jewish people to serve in the military on American soil was in Savannah, Georgia. My congregation, when the first settlers arrived, they were given muskets and they served in the militia to protect Charleston from the evils of Florida, where Spain controlled it. So if we learned something today, we learned that Florida is evil, right? I guess that's what we learned from this. I'm from Texas, so I guess I can say that. Mordechai Sheftel, one of the first 2 non-Native Americans born in Georgia. Commodore Uriah Phillips Levy, who was one of the great military leaders of the 19th century. He ended at the Naval Academy. He is the great-grandson of Afghanistan as a member of the Special Forces, gave his life to protect it. As Americans, when we look back at wars like Vietnam especially, I don't think we have any guilt about protesting, about speaking up about what we thought was wrong. Some people did, some people didn't. Well, we do have guilt about one thing, and that is the way we treated the American soldiers when they returned. They were doing what they thought was their duty. Of us who never joined the military for whatever reason, I never did, wisely. Maybe my daughter will. My daughter is 7 years old, and she's so sweet and cute. And she may join the military. You know, she recently learned to read. So how do you spell elephant? How do you spell, difficult words? She may enter the military because just out of the blue the other day she asked me, Dad, how do you spell flamethrower? I was too scared to ask why. She wanted to know. But maybe she'll join the military. What is our call of duty, though, if we're not part of the military? His priest Jehoiada in the Bible who did the same thing. The military men mostly went out and helped people and taught them how to be better human beings. So it teaches us that the call of duty for the military is not just about weapons, it's about, but we may change the world in unforeseeable ways. We all know that China is one of the most powerful countries in the world. It is repressive in nature. But communism speaks to the idea that the state takes care of the people. It's always assumed in China that the state does what is needed. So donating money was never a part of the Chinese culture at all. They did not donate money. Why? Because the government takes care of people. That's what happens. We know in America, and I believe more appropriately, that we must supplement what our government does. We must augment what our government does to help those in need. And when our government doesn't do anything, we must do it ourselves. That is our belief in America. It is not the belief in China. Mabel Ann Chang, South African, lived in China for 5 years as a journalist, and she wrote about the economics and the policies about China. She writes, the Communist Party in China is too afraid of letting nonprofit government organizations, NGOs, to flourish. However, she adds, the world is changing. In 2008, there was a terrible earthquake in China. 70,000 people died. Before that disaster, making charitable donations simply didn't enter into the minds of Chinese people. It was not part of their vernacular because it was assumed the state would do it. But after this earthquake, things started to change. Millions of Chinese citizens from all over the country sent money to help, and donations in that country increased by 30-fold in 1 year. It was a turning point, she writes. The internet enabled it, and because there's a much larger middle class now, people thought, wow, I as an individual have some agency to make a difference in the life of somebody else. Fundamentally, there was a turning point, as she writes. And let me ask you this. Where do you think the Chinese learned the idea of charitable giving on the internet? Please turn to your neighbor on your left and right and shake their hands. Only a few of you are listening, apparently. Most of you are thinking about you're going to go home and watch wrestling. Because we change the way the Chinese see the world. Do you really think that they would have understood the idea of tzedakah without witnessing what we do in America? And we may even be considered enemies in some ways, but they see what we do. How many more people do you think in China now volunteer for worthy causes because they see what we do, even if we're considered in some ways an enemy? Philanthropy in China has increased an average of 20% a year since the earthquake. I'm not counting, I believe, probably COVID. I didn't serve in the military, but I can still fulfill my call of duty, and I can train my children to do the same by donating money. Maybe my son or daughter will enter the military, but maybe not, but they each will do the call of duty. I think my son might. At 5 years old, he officially became a man recently. Very exciting. He went to the potty himself. My wife calls it the potty. I say it's the John. But that's not what made him a man. Because the second after he closed the door to go to the potty himself, he ran out of the bathroom naked. He's basically a nudist anyway. Into his room, grabbed his favorite train magazine, and went back to sit on the John and read it. He doesn't even know how to read yet. That is how he became a man. He may enter the military. He loves trains. That was the case. In an article entitled Giving in Russia, It's Not About the Big Money, Carolyn Hartnell from the organization Alliance teaches us that the world is changing in Mother Russia. In her article, she quotes Maria Chertok of CAF Russia and Oksana Bracheva, I apologize if I pronounced their names, of the Vladimir Putin Foundation, saying, there's almost no tradition of giving in Russia to build on. There was certainly no giving during the Soviet times. However, they both see the rise of the middle class as giving the most significant trend to Russia, specifically in philanthropy. They write, philanthropy is becoming more positive and more popular. People have more empathy with it. They're becoming more involved through corporate volunteerism and the giving of small donations. They don't think of philanthropic support as only about big money. Hartnell adds, according to CFA Russia, half the population is now giving money to institutions. Half of this to NGOs, half to the churches. This mostly goes to traditional causes, but support for the environment, disability, and other unpopular causes is growing. According to them now, almost 25% of Russians now give money to NGOs, mostly to children and to elders who are struggling. As we might expect, she writes, human rights organizations and advocacy organizations branded as foreign agents under the new foreign agent laws are seen by many as hostile to the country, so not in that area.